Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 3-0 Take, where we talk all things Major League Baseball. Here's Kyle Corwin and Nate Reyes. It all starts right now.
Welcome back to the 3-0 Take, presented by SeatGeek. This is episode 449. I'll be your host, Kyle Corwin, and I'm here with my co-host, Nate Reyes. Nate.
Welcome to the show, everyone. Welcome back. Before you do anything, please just consider hanging out with us on Monday. Another reminder for our Home Run Derby hangout session. Bring your fun stuff, bring your attitude, bring your excitement, bring your drinks, bring your ideas, bring your predictions. We have giveaways coming. You're probably less likely to win something if you're not subscribed, though. So, I'm just going to be honest there. Should probably subscribe to all the things, get all your notices on, and that's it. That's all I got. Hi, how are we? Welcome to the show.
Yep, I'm going to double down on that. Again, reminder, Monday, July 15th at 8 p.m. Eastern. I need to change that. We're probably going to be on earlier than that because we got to get our predictions in. Going to be doing some giveaways throughout the Home Run Derby. We're just going to be hanging out, watching some ball, watching some Home Run Derby, watching some moon shots, and as I mentioned, giving away some merch, giving away some cash, just having a good old time.
Cash.
Cold hard cash. So be sure to subscribe. We'll be on, you can find us on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter. We'll be live on all of those. So come hang out, make plans to hang out with us this coming Monday, July 15th, 8 p.m. or a little before.
You think Twitter, X being called Twitter, is ever going to die off?
No.
Twitter
for life.
I think it's just that way, huh?
Twitter for life.
Sorry, Elon.
But yeah, it depends on how loyal of a listener, how loyal of a follower you are. How early you hop on with us. Like if you show up at 8, we love you, we appreciate you. We'll be glad to have you. But just gonna say, the ones who show up maybe a little early, a special place in our heart for you guys. So make plans to come hang out with us Monday, July 15th. Nate, I didn't want to have to talk about this again. Just given the nature of it, this stuff is never fun to talk about.
It is not.
The Wander Franco stuff. What truly from the clouds. I know that he's been away from the game for some time now. I think I read today. Has it been it's been almost a year,
which is weird.
Like that. Yeah. That was mind blowing in and of itself. But then you find out, okay, why is Wander Franco's name resurfacing? And then you read the report. You read about what's going on. I'm oh my goodness. Wander Franco, formally charged, keyword, formally charged with sexual abuse. And then today, that was a day or two ago. And then today we get the right hook of news in that he was also caught up in human trafficking, which there's so much to unpack here. There's so much to unpack. And I feel like a good bit of this is going to be just an echo of what we've talked about the last time that we were discussing the whole Wander Franco legal situation. Because we only really have this what's been uncovered the last couple of days to go off of. But honestly, a lot of the sentiment, and I won't speak for you, but at least for me, a lot of it remains the same. One of the biggest points that was brought up when this news initially broke a year, however long ago back, was that you got this young, talented kid, so much promise, so much potential, and potential kept getting thrown around, but it's he's already showing you right here and now that he's got the skill set. He's showing you right now. But people are like, like, why would you throw that away? And we talk about this all the time, whether it's, sexual abuse issues, whether it's domestic abuse, whether it's these like drug addictions, whatever it may be. You have to be able to separate the two and recognize that a guy like Wander Franco, he like mentally was probably not all that concerned with baseball. Like, yeah, was he good at it? Yes. Is he still presumably very good at it? Yes. Like, was there a career to be had there? Yes. Did he get paid by the Rays? Which is shocking because the Rays don't pay anybody. Did he get paid by the Rays? Yes. All of those things can be true, but you listen to anybody that gets caught up in a scandal or gets caught up in something that if you really ask them, would you want to get caught up in something like this and be exposed and have your life ruined? They'd probably say no. But if you talk to people like that and you listen to people, it's just, you get wrapped up, you get too far gone. And at that point, there's really nothing you can do about it. So for people sitting there saying, well, he threw all this stuff away, it's like, he probably wasn't thinking about that. He probably wasn't going, well, I could go the baseball route. I could go the millions of dollars route, or I could get caught up in this wildly illegal activity. Right. I don't think that's the choice that was made. I think it was just one very poor decision after another snowballed on itself. And then he looks back and goes, whoa, my whole career is down the chute now. That's probably what happened.
Yeah. I think it's just a lot more to what, like, all the initial stuff that came out, like I don't know. This feels so gross to like even get into, but like the whole like 14 or 15-year-old that he had claimed that was like a girlfriend, and then like there's videos and pictures of them like hanging out and communicating, and then like I think the leave of absence happens where it's technically like the administrative leave by MLB, and then like there's reports of multiple girls being in this situation. And like the unfortunate side of things is that like our judicial system here is innocent until proven guilty. And you kind of have to be like, all right, well, like, these allegations get thrown around a lot. And especially, this isn't our first time seeing this with athletes, especially after a big payday. And so like, it's difficult to not overreact, to not come to an assumption without evidence being, brought to you first, especially just with how society has gone in certain ways. And like, you see certain names that, kind of like fell victim to cancel culture that ended up not being, guilty of this stuff. And then you got names that are guilty. And it's just like, it's so difficult of a situation to talk about. It's so difficult to like wrap your mind around. And then with this, like the human trafficking thing is like, it makes me sick to my stomach that's also a part of this conversation. And I think I saw that like he's facing 20 years or something like that, which I don't know, make it 200 years for all I care. Like, I don't.
Yeah. I saw the 20 years thing, and I'm like,
he's what, 24, 25? So it's like,
what are we doing with that?
Yeah. You come out at 45, you still got a second chance of life. Like, I think I'm all done. I think we should all be, all done with that.
And I didn't read well, I don't even know if the details on this specific matter have even been released, but like, sadly, I don't want to assume, and I really don't even want to speculate, but like, do we put two and two together and say, given the nature of the one side of this coin with his underage exploitation, do we also like, do we make the connection that the human trafficking involves minors as well? Like, I don't want to speculate. I don't know the answer to that question. But I'm saying, like, if that is the case, that's I mean, it's terrible either way. And again, I need to reiterate, I'm not like saying this is what's going on. I'm not even really trying to speculate because that's not beneficial either. But like, this is more me just thinking out loud. Like, Wander Franco gets caught up in underage allegations, gets formally charged. Oh, we come out and find that he got caught up in human trafficking. Well, like, what age are we talking about with that? Like, that's devastating.
Yeah. All of it is.
And you mentioned the administrative leave. I don't even know if we've mentioned, but I think it came out today that he was placed on restricted leave. And we do have, I believe AJ in the chat asked, does that mean the Rays are not paying him? I believe that's the case. I believe that
I didn't know that.
I think moving forward, I could be wrong there, but I think in kind of scouring the articles I was working through, I think that is the conclusion I came to. Jeff Passan actually tweeted, though. He said the move of Wander Franco to the restricted list is not a disciplinary action or reflection of the sexual abuse, sexual exploitation against a minor, or human trafficking charges themselves. Any MLB discipline would come after the court case is done.
And this court, I mean, this is all being tried in the DR, right?
Yeah, which I've heard their system moves like rather slowly. Like we hear about, the United States government and judicial system moving at a snail's pace, but from what I've seen, what I've read, it's no better down there. So it could be a while before all of this stuff, all this dust settles.
I think that's like I don't know if there's like exceptions. Like I don't know the rules behind this stuff. Like for me, I don't know. I don't know how these contracts work or like how they're voided or like whatever. But for me, it's just like it's a no-brainer. Like the Rays shouldn't have to be on the hook for this. This isn't like some injury that he's retiring from. You know what I'm saying? Like he broke the law and he's from all we're seeing, not a very good human being. So like I can't see why the Rays would still have to be on the hook. And I hope for their sake and just for like baseball's sake that money isn't coming out the door at all. And I actually, because I was curious about it, I took a screenshot of what the contract is left. I mean, it goes through 2033. 2033 is a club option. And this was all backloaded. Like this year was only supposed to be 2.4 million. It's supposed to end with 25 million a year. All overall, like it's just a weird, unfortunate thing for the Rays that like you said, they don't really spend money. We're not used to seeing big contracts and long-term contracts, but they finally felt like they had like a franchise player.
And that's the sad part too, man. Like I get sports in general, or pretty much anything in society these days is like memeable and humor can be made out of it and people, make light of situations a little too much. But like this, to your point, this genuinely sucks for the Rays. Like take the just general grossness of the situation, just look at it through a baseball lens. Like this absolutely sucks for the Rays. We've already reiterated they don't spend money. We know this. They finally identify a guy. This is who we want. This is who we want to set aside X amount of dollars for.
Yeah.
For the next however many years. And this is who we want to move forward with as the face of our franchise. At the end of the day, though, whether it's sexual exploitation of a minor, whether it's human trafficking, if you get caught up in a crime that serious, the team that employs you should be unequivocally absolved of any contractual obligations to you, point blank, period.
Yeah.
I don't know. Again, we've posed this question before. I don't know what that clause or clauses may look like when it comes to MLB Major League Baseball, MLBPA. I don't know what the fine print of that is, but if there is any situation where that's not the case, something needs to change.
That's what I'm saying. Like Rob Manfred needs to just like make an exception, just a commissioner like exemption of the rule. If there is a rule there, if there is no loophole, like you need to fix this. But going back to like the baseball side of things, like how many decisions, what was the ripple effect here? How much of that money could have stayed to hold on to Glasnow? Going back to a prior move, like, could this have made them want to like hold on to Willy Adames? Like, there's like a lot of parts to this that it isn't just about Franco not getting the money. It's or them having to be stuck with money or like them making a decision. It's roster configuration over the last few years. It's clearing room for this guy. It's finally committing financially to one guy and kind of passing on others. So like it sucks because it's not just, oh, we're out a superstar. It's like, well, no, we made other decisions because of this guy. And we decided to go a different direction because of this guy. I genuinely do feel bad for the Rays. Like this is a really tough break overall. And I don't think there was any, I mean, this isn't a new sentiment. Like I'm not saying anything new. We all felt this last year. I think when we heard this news last year, it's not like we expected him to come back. It's not like we expected for him to slot back into the 2-hole at shortstop for the Rays for the next 8-10 years, whatever it is that on that contract. But it's like, it's just really kind of unfair, you know, like there is no, you don't get a draft pick. You don't get that money back that you already paid. You don't get those players back that you passed on. Like you're just out. You just got to take the L, take it on the chin.
And look, us talking about things through the baseball lens does not in no way diminishes the severity of like what's taking place off the field. Like no, we're not saying that.
You and I don't know. We don't know enough to talk about that stuff.
We don't know enough to talk about that. And also like that's like, I hate to say it, but that's more like TMZ's lane. Like we're a baseball podcast. We've addressed as much as we know about what's going on off the field as we can, like as much as we responsibly can. So we're, as a result, going to fall back to talking about it through the baseball lens. But kind of to put a bow on this, your point about it just sucking for the Rays. Like, if you really think about it, them spending $300+ million on Wander Franco, the Rays spending $300+ million on Wander Franco may as well be $900 million for any other team.
Yeah,
spending on other players because they just don't spend. So for them to commit that much money to a guy like this, they may as well be spending $900 million. If you're another team.
You and I, this is what we're pro for. Like we're for this, for organizations that have money to spend money and like invest in their own roster, invest in their own team in somehow, some way. And it sucks because will the Rays do this again? Will they? Are they more hesitant now to take that next step? Like, I don't know. It's just, I hope this is just like a one-off bad luck. Never have to say this guy's name again. Let's move forward. Tampa Bay Rays organization that is willing to commit to their players or commit to a winning product and build a team that's worth watching.
Agreed. All right, let's switch gears here. Let's talk about the latest additions to the Home Run Derby. As it stands right now, I believe we have 7 of the 8 participants on board. I've got the ones that we have yet to talk about, but prior to that, we've got Gunnar Henderson, Pete Alonso, and wasn't there one more? Oh, Alec Bohm. Those were the 3 we talked about, or that we've talked about to this point. Since then, since last episode, The names that have joined: Bobby Witt Jr., Marcelo Zuna, Jose Ramirez, and today Adolis Garcia. How do we feel? How do we feel about the field thus far?
I don't love it.
I don't love it either. Specifically, I wanted to get your take on how we feel about Marcelo Zuna being in the home run derby, and whether or not you think that that's a sign of desperation for Major League Baseball to go in and specifically handpick a guy like Marcelo Zuna, given the nature of just, the track record that Major League Baseball has had with dealing with domestic abuse, so on and so forth.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of voices on that on Twitter. It's so, I don't even know what the right thing to say is. Like, can one argue that a person serves their time and was reprimanded and is now free to do what they want to do? Can you also argue that, like, it's weird to put him on like a national individual stage? You know what I mean? Like, it's not like we're watching him perform in a World Series where it's about the Atlanta Braves. Like, we're going to be watching him perform for entertainment purposes. It feels a little icky. There's also a lot of people talking about, like, we're blackballing Zuna, and for some reason, Trevor Bauer can't even get back into the league. I don't know. I'm not here to compare. I think all these cases are individual and they're different, and it's hard to compare them. I don't feel great about the invitation. Like, the invitation has to come for someone to accept. So I don't feel great about that invitation going out. Personally, me. Like, my opinion, I don't think there should be an opportunity for you to win an event. It's got like a smudge on it for me. I don't,
because, like, either way, you have to get the check of the stamp of approval from Major League Baseball. Even if Major League Baseball is like, we're not touching Marcelo Zuna with a 10-foot pole for the home run derby, much less anything else, marketing, whatever you want to call it. They don't tweet. They barely tweet about him. I think the only reason any posts have gone out about him this year is just because he was like hitting the crap out of the ball for the first half of the season.
Yeah.
But even if that was the case, and Ozuna was like, he and his camp reach out to Major League Baseball, like, hey, like, we'd really love to do the home run derby. They still have to approve that. Like, he can't just be like, hey, I want to do it, so I'm in. Like, whether it was him that prompted this invitation or they reached out, it starts and ends with Major League Baseball. That's the whole point here. So, but I bring that up, and going back to my original question is, like, how short on names are we? I mean, I know at this point in time we only got to fill one spot, or we only have to fill one spot. But at the time when he agreed to do this, there were like how many people said no for it to get to this point?
I'm worried that the home run derby is like creeping into slam dunk territory. That the NBA, like the NBA, used to watch like Vince Carter and Michael Jordan and like your giant superstars participating in it. And now it's turned into like, it's not even watchable. And I just don't want that to happen.
Well, I mean, every time the All-Star break rolls around, I feel like your and I's conclusion is that the All-Star game doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean nearly as much as it used to. Since it doesn't count for anything, it's just a marketing promotion essentially. But it's like, we at least have the home run derby. That's the exhibition. That's the display of power. That's the star power that we can always rely on.
Right.
I feel like I mean, maybe like going back a year or two, you could kind of say the same thing. But this year, I feel like we're really creeping into the territory of like, is this thing headed for life support? Like this isn't a good spot for the Derby, if I'm being honest.
I mean, let's face it. We're less than a week out and we don't even have the 8th participant yet. That's not normal. That in itself is an issue. So like we can sit here and talk about like the morality of who gets invites, but I think the bigger issue is what's the incentive and where are guys? Like, where are guys that want to do this? I don't like it.
I do understand. There's a lot of moving parts, and I know you and I were kind of ribbing at guys, specifically like looking more so at the American players who are like, well, it just messes with my swing. Meanwhile, you just have the Latin guys who are just chomping at. I'm assuming are just chomping at the bit. Like, let me hit a baseball 600 feet. I don't care.
Yeah.
But I like stepping back and looking at it a little more seriously. I do understand that there's a lot of moving parts. Like you're away from your family for a long time. And if you're an all-star who is on the fence or who could possibly be a home run derby participant, like I understand that, okay, well, you're already going to be there anyway. So there are different things different factors to weigh. But like, if you're one of these guys who's not an all-star, but you're still getting the invite to the home run derby, I get it. You're kind of banking on that time with family, or like if you don't have a family, just that time to rest, to recoup a little bit, get your physicals and mentals and all that right. I understand that. But also, like, I don't know. Is it so much to ask where the incentive? Because what is it now? It's been like isn't it like $1 million? Isn't that the prize?
I don't know. I did just see a report that they came out with a chain.
Yeah, I saw that. Like, whatever.
Is it $1 million chain?
Well, what did it say? It had like over 600 diamonds or something in it. I'm like, okay, cool. Maybe call me an old man, Nate. I'm only 30. But when that came out and I saw that, I'm like, that's cool. Like, it's cool. Like, if I won it, that'd be a sick thing to display in your house. But I don't know. I'm not.
I think there's one person on the planet that's motivated by that, and it's Peter Alonso. That's it. Like, no one else is like.
That's what I'm saying.
Stoked.
Like, yeah, some of these guys are on the younger side, but like they're still grown men. Like, I think it's a cool award, if you want to call it, to market the event with. Like, whoa, we got this 600 plus diamond derby chain. I understand that, but I don't think that that's gonna be what opens the floodgates for these guys to be like, okay, now the derby chain, I'm in. Like, sign me up.
Yeah.
I just don't know what needs to change. And
I gotta be honest. I think the only way we see change around the home run derby, around the All-Star game, and just overall participation, there's got to be a change to the season. And that means I think it means keeping the same amount of days and probably dropping 10, 12 games and just having more time. Like, if this is your only opportunity as a player to recoup, that's probably an issue.
But how long, devil's advocate here, how long have we had a 162 game season? And we had like the cream of the crop when it came to star power willing to participate in the derby, in the All-Star game, whatever it was, without a complaint. And yeah, maybe there was like some grumblings of like, yeah, man, I need a couple days off, but they still showed up and did it. So it's like, what's changed?
Back then, you're talking about a shorter postseason format. You're talking about less teams getting in. Now that the format is what it is, there's more teams in the picture. There's more opportunity to try and actually win this thing. We're watching teams that are sneaking into the second wildcard spot, making deep runs into the postseason. So it's like back then it was like, all right, let's just go win the pennant and win the World Series, and like we're good. That's it. There's only so many teams in the picture. And if you're an all-star and you're part of a team that has no chance this year, it's like, well, all right, whatever. We're not fighting for anything. Now, 90% of the league is under this conception of like, we have a chance and I need to stay healthy and I need to do whatever I can to help my team. But it's like, this is like, it's a perfect storm of the season being long, not having enough off days, the postseason being extended, guys like trying to stay healthy for the trade deadline if you're going to get an opportunity somewhere else. Like, I don't know.
I hear you, and I'm not going to sit here and posture myself as an old man yelling at the clouds. I just personally think, it's my own opinion. It's what I believe. If you listening or you watching disagree, that's fine. It's just my belief, and you don't even have to go back to like the 60s or the 70s or the 80s. You go back as recently as like the 2000s. I just think that was a different breed of player. Like, I just think that those guys from like the 2000s going back, I think when presented with the opportunity for like, a home run derby, I want to be the guy that goes and hits the ball 500 feet more times than these other 7 guys who are whatever the situation is. But now it's just like, well, it's going to mess up my swing. Like, okay, I get it. There's a lot more money in these contracts involved. I understand that. But like mentally, I think we can all agree that like we're dealing with some dogs going back again as recently as the 2000s and prior to that. Just it was a different mentality, a different breed.
I could pull on some strings here, dude. I could pull on the fact that like half these guys probably didn't play multiple sports growing up. I bet half these guys, only focused on baseball, and it's been 6 days a week, 7 days a week since they were 7. Like, that's just how our game is structured now. Back in the 90s, early 2000s, you had guys that were just like, I grew up playing pickup games in my neighborhood, and then I would go play baseball, and then I would play football in the offseason. Like, there's like this, I wouldn't even say mental toughness. It's like this competitiveness of like, I'm good at everything, and I know athletically, like, this isn't going to hinder my abilities that much. I think we're so freaking like so anxious, and we're so like mentally caught up in like, I need to have everything perfect, and I can't afford to jeopardize that in any way. We could go a whole different path of where society is nowadays because of this. But I think you could drop prima donna pretty much anywhere on the modern day athlete across all sports that I don't think was as prevalent back then. And if it was a prima donna, it was like a proven superstar athlete like Deion Sanders or Bo Jackson, or people that are like, I can do whatever I want on any field and I'll show
Dennis Rodman is a guy that comes to mind in basketball. It's like,
but he proved it because
he was very particular, but he was going to win the battle 10 times out of 10.
Right.
That's kind of the difference there.
We have so many like entitled names in sports that like haven't done anything, that think that they, deserve the world handed to them. It's, I don't know. Maybe we are old. Maybe we're wandering in a
I'm
weird
not going
area.
to I'm not going to cave into that. I think we're onto something there, and I think most rational thinking people would probably agree to some extent on that matter. But I don't want to pull at that thread too much. But looking at the other names, though, I know we focused there for a minute on Marcell Ozuna, but Jose Ramirez, I believe, makes a return to the Derby. I think we've seen him before. Bobby Witt, again, another one of the names that's been recently added, and then Adolis Garcia. You and I were talking about it, how we called that, I think, like last episode, talking about how the Ranger, you're going to need a hometown guy. You're going to need a Rangers rep. Somebody's got to step up. And we fixated on that name for the very reason of like, hey, he's having somewhat of a pedestrian season. Maybe he uses this as an opportunity. And again, being a non-American guy is just going to come in and be like, I'm just going to try to hit a baseball at 700 feet. And maybe that's what corrects his path for the remainder of the season. Who knows?
Yeah.
But I think that'll be a fun name to watch in particular. But as it stands right now, though, who do you have winning it? We don't have the 8th final, and we keep saying we're waiting on the 8th. I know that's gonna be announced like 2 minutes after we release the episode.
Oh, always, yeah.
But given where it stands right now, who's the early favorite for you?
Dude, I don't know. Part of me is just really hoping for a Gunnar and Bobby Witt final. Like that's all I want to see. That's all I need to see. I don't know. There's
Speaking
some
of which,
hometown juice that Adolis could bring too. Those biceps are different. Those are built different.
Those in the chat, who's your early pick?
Yeah, let us know.
Who's your early prediction to win the Derby based on the names we got so far? We got Gunnar Henderson, Alec Boehm. Who is the other early one? We just did this.
Peter
Lanzo, Bobby Witt Jr., Marcelo Zuna, Jose Ramirez, Adolis Garcia. Who is the early favorite?
I think Jose really struggled. I don't remember where or why I'm saying this, but I feel like the last time he participated, it was not good.
Yeah, I'm kind of remembering the same thing.
I feel like he really struggled. I don't know what they're gonna. I think they're gonna have to start getting pretty creative with like some type of theme. I think MLB is gonna have to step in with like a home run derby theme, and I don't know if it's like a do it by position. You know what I'm saying? Like an all center fielder home run derby this year, or an all shortstop home run derby this year, or an all under 25 home run derby this year. Like, I think they're going to have to start getting creative and like kind of building up. Like, I don't know if they're hyping it enough up for the players. I don't know if guys are getting excited enough for this.
And that's my worry is when you get like borderline, and I'm not saying it's gimmicky, but like when you start tiptoeing into that territory, I think you've already lost the event. Like if you have like, for the longest time, the home run derby was like the premier like all-star event, like across sports pretty much. Yeah. And if you start teetering into like, well, we're gonna have to bring in this guy, or we're gonna have to make this accommodation, I think you've already lost it. Because the home run derby should never be at a place where you have to make those sort of concessions. But I don't know. I'm not wild about it. But you mentioned Gunnar Henderson. Little side note here. Did you see that tweet I put out about him being projected for, which I don't even think I knew he's having an MVP caliber season, but I don't think I had looked up his projected numbers. He is on pace, well, as of yesterday, for 49 home runs, which would put him third on the all-time list for shortstops, behind Alex Rodriguez, who put up 57 in 02 and then 52 in 01. And you can feel whichever way you'd like to about those particular seasons and the production that we witnessed from Alex Rodriguez. But on paper, that would put Gunnar Henderson third all-time among shortstops, which I'm like, if that's the case, man, like if that's the kind of season we're looking at, he's very clearly feeling something. Like something's going very well with the swing. So it might be, I don't want to say like underrated or like dark horse pick for Gunnar Henderson, because he has, what did I say? As of right now, he's got 29 home runs. No, does he have 29? Yeah, 29 home runs, I think.
Yeah, he's feeling himself.
But it feels like this event would be more catered for a guy like Adolis Garcia, which is why I say Gunnar is more of an underrated pick in that sense.
Yeah, there's something about, I don't know, hometown crowd, hometown park. You get to sleep in your own bed. You know what I'm saying?
All the perks.
All of those factors got to come into play here.
All the perks.
Plus, you know your BP guy is going to be available. You know what I'm saying? Like, you live here. You work here. This is your office, too. Of course you're going to come throw for me. You're not having to fly across the country. You're not having to take this, like time away from your family. You're already here.
That's fact. Speaking of time away, let's talk about this Dodgers rotation right now. Tyler Glasnow placed on the 15-day IL with back tightness. He's having, all things considered, having a pretty solid year. He's 8-5 right now with 3.47 ERA. Last I checked, leading the majors in strikeouts with 143. And I also read that is the most before the All-Star game in Dodgers history since Clayton Kershaw put up 159 Ks back in 2017.
As soon as I trade for him, has a couple poopy starts and then just gets thrown on the IL. I think I saw this. It's kind of backdated, right? Doesn't it go back to July, like retroactive to July 6th? So buys a little time there. Obviously not going to be participating in the All-Star game, which I think I saw Hunter Green is the replacement.
That's correct.
Yeah, this is what we talked about before the year. Like before the year, yeah, they were favored. Like the rotation was absurd. But this is why, like, you could never have enough arms. That was their mentality. That's why they went and did these moves. Because you can never have enough. I don't know. There's no damage. There's no damage to the Dodgers that happens at this moment that makes me feel like it's going to be a long-term issue. I'm not worried. I don't see why Dodgers fans should be worried. In reality, it's just like tread water until like August. Like I don't think any Dodger fan would care if this ended in a World Series or like ended in a World Series appearance. It's like none of these guys. I don't know. The whole Kershaw thing.
You're saying they wouldn't care about having to deal with this if it ended up with a World Series. Yeah.
It's like, and I don't think the confidence needs to waver that much. Like they're still in fine shape.
I mean, listen to this though, dude. On the note of the rotation, Blake Harris on Twitter. Dodgers currently have one of the best IL rotations you'll ever see. Tyler Glasnow, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Shohei Ohtani, Clayton Kershaw, Walker Buehler. Oh, and Dustin May, Tony Gonsolin, and Emmett Sheehan as your depth.
Yeah.
I mean, that's disgusting.
Old Bobby Miller just got sent down.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Dodgers option Bobby Miller, who currently has an 8.07 ERA, a whip of 1.83, and a 5.6 walk per nine rate through 7 starts this year. Missed 61 games with a shoulder injury. In his last 4 starts, he's had an ERA of 9.87 after getting lit on what's today? Wednesday, Tuesday, by the Phillies. Which, by the way, what was that? It ended up being like
it was a weird one,
10-1 or something. Trey had a grand slam.
I know. I was about to like turn that game on, and then it was like the 3rd inning. I was like, all right, never mind. Yeah, go get right, young man. You're fine. You're fine. They're fine. It's a weird balance of like, I don't feel bad for you because no one needs to feel bad for you, with also saying like they still have plenty of depth and they're still going to be fine. You know? They got like a half an all-star team on the IL, though. That's for sure. They'll be okay. They'll be all right. Everyone comes back in like August, gets ramped up for September. I don't think there's anything to worry about.
Dude, I'll take my chances with that IL rotation and Mookie Betts being the only guy in the field. Like that, I'll take my chances there.
Yeah.
It's an embarrassment of riches.
Yeah, it really is.
But to your point, and it's a very valid point, the Dodgers have to be thinking about this. They're going, if we're gonna go in on X, Y, and Z name, we need to almost bank on, I don't know, X and Y going down. So we need to go get A, B, and C. And people are going to think we're crazy spending $1 billion+ dollars.
Right.
But just because we're paying X, Y, and Z X amount of dollars doesn't mean that they're any less prone to injury. So like, we're going to go get our stars, but we're also, because we're the Dodgers, can afford to go get more stars. So that's what we're going to do to help counterbalance the reality that, like, hey, multiple of these names are probably going down at some point throughout the year. And look where they're at right now.
But I mean, it helps. Look, they're in a year where it's a very soft division and got off to a hot start. Per usual, they're fine. They're gonna be fine. Just as long as these guys aren't out for a postseason run, like, I don't know. If I was a Dodger fan, I wouldn't even turn a game on until August. Like, you know what I mean? This is the same script over and over again. You guys are going to dominate the regular season, and it all just comes down to how you perform in the postseason.
Well, I mean, to be fair, the Dodgers fans are probably getting ready to leave their house now, and they'll make it to Dodger Stadium by August.
It's true,
given the traffic. So
yeah,
a lot at play here.
Tough parking lot.
Brutal, just a brutal city altogether, man. LA, that's tough living out there, man.
It is
tough living. You all got a quality baseball team, but that traffic, man, my goodness. Jazz Chisholm being rumored, being shopped. What do we think happens there?
I don't really get it.
I mean, if you're the Marlins, like, why not? Like, if you're getting rid of, Tanner Scott, presumably.
That's what I was gonna say. I think these two names get packaged.
You've already gotten rid of Arias. Like, what is holding on to Chaz gonna do to Jazz at this point gonna do?
Me not getting it is not about him being shopped. It's about how many buyers are there really gonna be. I'm not in love with the Jazz Chisholm game. It's a lot of like not playing to this style, not playing to your skill set that I get. That's what it comes to me in mind. Like a lot of swing and miss, a lot of. I mean, I guess there's certain things that are looking pretty decent. I think he's set to he's on track to have a career high in home runs. He's got 11 so far this year. Career high is 19. Probably a career high in RBIs. He's already at 41. His career high is 53. But I mean, he's on pace to have like 150, 160 strikeouts. His K rate is just extremely high. The defense to me is meh. And I got to give him credit for like moving into center field and like willing to accept that role. Like I can't knock him for that.
He at least brings that flexibility wherever he goes, if he goes.
The base running is a no duh. I mean, it's tops in the league, but like the walk rate is not very good. A lot of strikeouts. The launch angle is pretty bad too, even though it seems like he tries to lift the ball constantly. He doesn't. I don't know. It just doesn't do that much for me. And that's why I think Tanner Scott has to be paired with the deal if you're really going to get the Holliday one.
Breaking news. As predicted, the home run derby field is set. Not to cut you off talking about Tanner Scott. Teoscar Hernandez is our 8th and final home run derby finalist.
An incredibly underwhelming field. I'm not hyped.
No.
And it's for the stream, too. Like, our first stream.
Well, it'll be on us then to get the people going with the giveaways and giving away cash and giving away merch and whatever else.
Yeah.
If it's an underwhelming, if it's a lackluster home run derby, then maybe we'll just have to give more money away. I don't know.
Maybe. We'll save that for Monday. Anywho's, yeah, Tanner Scott, I mean, I think there's a million teams that need bullpen help. So no brainer there. Really good with just staying off of barrels. Balls don't seem to get hit hard off of him. Really low expected batting average against. Keeps exit velocity down. I mean, his baseball savant page is like all red. So it looks like he's only given up 2 home runs this year. Only issue with Tanner Scott is that he walks a lot. Does not do well with the walks. Ranks in the bottom 2%. With a 14% walk rate. But it's fixable. And I think there's some things you could do. And it could be as simple as getting him with, a catcher with really good framing that, just kind of changes things. So I'm not in love with the Jazz Chisholm style. I don't know what it is about him. I like the confidence. I like the swagger.
But as we talk about with literally anybody that even plays in a remotely similar style, people don't care about it as much if you can put up the numbers. And Jazz at times has the reality of it is, say what you will about him, whether you like him or not, he's streaky, man. And sometimes he struggles to put those numbers up.
Yeah. I can't think of a team that would need both. Because I do think there's no point. They have no one else. Any guys that they would move on from are all stuck on the IL. Half the rotation's on the IL. Like, these are like the only chips that they can move.
Let me ask you this. A team that I did see thrown around, the Yankees.
I know.
Is there a need there? Would this... I mean, look, we've talked about it. Seemingly, the Yankees this year have thrown caution to the wind with the whole needing to protect the image thing. They bring in Marcus Stroman, who we know is just a certified... Anyway, Juan Soto, a guy who doesn't exactly play quietly at times.
Sure.
What's preventing them from bringing in a guy like Jazz Chisholm?
It's just more of the same stuff. It's more swing and miss stuff. It's more inconsistency. Oh man, I'm struggling to see it.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking of like some of the guys you've brought in. Like JD Davis is a name that come to mind. Like you're telling me Jazz Chisholm wouldn't be a better, even if for nothing else, a depth piece, which is just wild to say. But like, if the Yankees were like, we don't view you that highly, but like we'll bring you in as a guy off the bench.
Yeah.
JD Davis,
If he walked more, I could get on board. If he struck out less, I could get on board. If he could come in and be like a true leadoff hitter, I could see it. I don't think he's played second base at all this year. No. Hasn't played second base since 2022. So it's not like has like a ton of flex. I don't think any team would be like, hey, I want you to come and rotate between second and short, or second and center.
I think
I don't know.
he'd be.
I mean, the lefty swing could play in Yankee Stadium, obviously.
I think he'd be plenty more than able to hold it down at second for a couple months.
Yeah, I know that Tanner Scott, again, there's plenty of bullpens that would love to have him. So I think that could work. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. The Yankees need like a ridiculous shakeup. So,
well, I'm glad you mentioned that. They could have been dealt quite a shakeup back in 2022, because the report came out today randomly that the Rays, the Tampa Bay Rays, going back to our conversation about a team that does not spend, as we all very well know, offered Aaron Judge $300 million back in 2022, back during free agency. What are our thoughts there?
Why is this randomly coming out?
Yeah, I don't know. Doesn't make any sense.
I don't know why this just suddenly came to the surface. I mean, I know they're in Tampa right now, but it's like strange.
Nah, maybe that's it. He said
he had cool comments about it. The dude doesn't miss with comments.
Yeah, he said the Rays, that surprised me, and just because it was a divisional rival and I've spent my whole career trying to game plan against them, it was a very respectful offer, and I appreciated that they reached out and that they thought enough of me to do that. And I respect their team. I respect what they have built here. They have a good club and their team is tough, but it was hard. It was so hard to think about playing for them because I've spent my whole career game planning against them and trying to beat them. So, wait. I thought the report came out today. Maybe it came out like a day or two ago, but all in all, still sort of random. But to your point, and he mentions, what does he say? I respect what they've built here. So maybe that quote was retrieved from him while they were there, or while they're currently there. Is that what you're saying?
They're in Tampa right now.
Yeah, so maybe that's why it randomly got dropped, but interesting nonetheless.
Was this before or after the Wander Franco contract? Would have been before, right? If it's after, that changes a little bit of this conversation.
Are you saying this report coming out after the Wander Franco news?
The offer.
Oh,
like you're telling me the Rays would have gone from decades of poverty to
okay. So
having two $300 million guys only.
November 27th, 2021, Tampa Bay Rays have signed Wander Franco to an 11-year, $182 million contract.
This is after.
Wow, that was I completely misspoke earlier. For some reason I thought he was up to like 2 or 3 million, or 2 or 300 million. I completely forgot it was that. I don't want to say cheap. It's $182 million, but I completely did not remember that properly. 11-year, $182 million contract. But all in all, to your point, November 27th, 2021. So that would have been before this offer, which happened in the free agency of 2022.
That would have been, that would have been like 30% of their salary put towards two guys. This makes me think of when you were working on like your wedding guest list and you were like thinking of people to invite and you're like, nah, they'll never show up. okay, let's invite them, just to say that like we invited them because we know they'll never show up, right? Was this just an appeasement? Hey, we know he'll never sign here, so we'll just throw that offer out there just to show that we're going to show our fans that we're trying. Is there a little of that going on?
Well, that's what I'm saying though. Like I would have thought that had we not got the comments from Judge. Like is he responding to this having physically received an offer, or is he responding to the report that there was going to be an offer of 300 million?
I don't know.
Did that offer ever reach him?
I don't know.
Because that would tell you right there, like, okay, what's the real motive here for the Rays? Like, are they is this just PR? And going back to what I thought
this is eyewash.
Yeah, I thought this was your original, but you were going in a different direction. But it's interesting the timing of this report coming out amidst the whole Wander Franco thing. Like, it's all just the timing is very, very odd.
That is true. That is true. Let's just drop this nugget because soften the blow.
Hey, look over here. Look what we're doing over here. Look what we did back in 2022. Nothing to see here. And again, I'm not saying like anything with the Wander Franco is their fault, but like from like an image protection standpoint, like the Rays have to do a little bit of damage control here, given that like Wander Franco was employed by them. So
I think it's a combination. I would agree. I think you're right. I think it was also a lot of like everyone and their mom knew that it was either the Yankees or the Giants. So let's just throw an offer out there to say that we did. One of those like, thank God he didn't say yes kind of moments. You know what I mean?
We're going to have to go down to the bank, guys. If he says yes, we're going to have to start pooling some money together.
Oh, that's so good, dude.
Like, they're just sweating it. Like, I guarantee you they had a pizza party when he said he was going back to New York.
Oh, yeah. They had like a whole concessions menu ready to be dropped. Coke, just a regular Diet Coke went from $3 to 13. Everything was just, they had it prepped, I think, ready to go. Wow, that's funny. Well, it's cute. It's a cute story.
Unbelievable.
Random, but not that random.
Yeah, I don't know.
Now that I think about it.
These things work in funny ways.
And you're right. It came out a couple days ago because the Wander Franco stuff literally just came out today, right? So
no. The formally charged side of things, that news was, I think that came out a day or two ago. The human trafficking came out today. And pretty sure, don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure this Rays Judge thing also came out today.
It's gotta be that way, dude. Because like when you search, you just gotta push stuff down. You know what I mean? Like, you know how all that stuff works when you're searching on social media. Like, you need other stuff to pop up and not all this Wander Franco crap. So yeah, that makes sense. Crazy.
Yeah, people are looking for like Wander Franco material, and they go to like the most casual baseball fan goes to Google and is like Tampa Bay Rays star, and then the article that comes up, it's Aaron Judge could have been a star for the Tampa Bay Rays, and then they're going, oh, this isn't what I'm looking for, but let me read about Aaron Judge.
Yeah, and then they forget and go see something else.
People try to complicate it, but it's really that simple. It's really like that's.
Look at this shiny thing.
That's how these things go.
True.
Speaking of shiny things, I don't know if there's any truth to this report. I had a lot of people coming at me being like, bro, never in a million years would this have happened. Check your sources. I don't know anything about this Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports.
That's a type of mustard, right?
Yeah, Dejan Mustard Kovacevic. I mean, how would you say it? Dejan.
Yeah, that's
It's not
Dijon.
It's not Dejan. It's not.
I love a good Dijon mustard. You put me a little Dijon mustard on a brat. That changes the game for me. You can't just go like regular old yellow mustard on a brat. You know what I mean? Class it up with some Dijon.
He put out an article either today or yesterday. It was making waves today. There's a paragraph in the report that said fact, which is a wild
to put that.
I'm already walking this back. You don't start a paragraph in your article with fact, but he says fact. I was told over the weekend by a high-ranking American League executive that at some point in 2024, the Orioles approached the Pirates about a trade of elite prospects, one that sent Jared Jones to Baltimore and 20-year-old infielder Jackson Holliday to Pittsburgh. I was further told that it was Ben Cherington who backed off. And as the opening sentence of this paragraph suggests, I've got no idea when within this year it occurred, only that it did. I'm sorry for wasting everybody's time. I shouldn't have even included this. I don't know why I'm giving this guy any attention, but that whole... I kind of just glossed over the facts bit at the beginning when I first read this. And I was like, oh, yeah, anyway, let me read about Jackson and Jared. But now that I'm looking at it, what are we doing? And then he doubles down and he goes, and as the opening sentence of this paragraph suggests, I've got no idea when within this year it occurred, only that it did.
Yeah, don't say fact and then not have enough evidence besides a high-ranking executive. Well, when? Because Jackson Holliday was blazing hot in spring training. You know what I mean? And like Oriole Nation would have rioted if he was traded after that. Is it that 2-week gap before, or 2-3 week gap before he was called up that you had this conversation? Like when? And at that point, like
that doesn't make sense because the reason he got called up is because he was hitting so well because they sent him down to like, oh, he's got to get work against lefties. Goes down and rakes against lefties, and then they call him up, and then he had the fall, like he just struggled, and they sent him back down, obviously, but. I just don't know at what point it would have ever made sense.
Yeah.
And I get from a positional perspective, they've got a little bit of a log jam with some of the young stars they got there, but like I don't know if Jackson is the guy that you're going to start the conversation with. Especially if you're the one approaching them. You're not going to bring your best to the table and be like, "Hey, how does Jackson Holliday sound?"
That would have been wild. I would have been down. I would have really been down. O'Neal Cruz and Jackson Holliday up the middle with Paul Skeens on the bump. What?
Hey, he looks good in the Pirates uni, man. I saw Photoshop. I'm telling you, people are eating this report up. And I saw a Pirates Photoshop. It looks good.
Yeah. I would have been down. Because Jordan Westbrook is like lighting it up, like you know what I mean. Just
got added. Rafi Devers said, "I'm out. I gotta rest the shoulder." So Jordan Westberg making an All-Star appearance.
Yeah, he deserves it. The kid's a stud.
Interesting little like imaginary game to play though.
Yeah, a lot of riches going on in Baltimore.
We can
That'd have been cool.
Play a little make believe. Again, I don't know if there's any legitimacy to this report, and I don't if this guy's just blowing smoke. I don't want to give him any more attention than he's already getting. But it's just an interesting thing to have popped up that I saw today and thought we'd chat about it. All right, weekend series to watch. I've got by the way, Blatt, in case you've lost track of time, this weekend will be the last series before the All-Star break. So
very good.
So if you listening, you watching, or or I don't know if you're going to boycott the All-Star game and the Home Run Derby because you think they suck now and you're just trying to get a little bit of rest. Just know that you got to watch through Sunday and then you can take your break because this is the last series before the break. Royals at the Red Sox is a series I'm going to have my eye on. Yes, it's the Red Sox, but truth be told, I don't really pick the Red Sox all that often for the weekend series to watch. I really ever, maybe once or twice this season. But this is an interesting matchup given the playoff implications. And I know it's still July, but these, as you and I have talked about, these are the Royals, at least. I know we were talking about it in the beginning of the season as being a team that potentially could make a run. I had them, to reiterate, I had them as the sixth wild card or the third wild card seed coming out of the AL. So with the way the Red Sox been playing, which let's not kid ourselves. I mean, the Red Sox at this rate are going to finish ahead of the Yankees in the division.
It's very possible.
I think they've closed I think they've picked up 14 games on the Yankees in the last 3-4 weeks.
Sure.
They're only 2 back in the loss column. But anyway, all I have to say, interesting matchup given the nature of the wild card situation right now. Red Sox currently hold the third wild card spot at 50-40, and the Royals, and this is entering Wednesday, the Royals are the first team on the outside looking in. They are a game and a half back of the third wild card spot behind the Red Sox. So game 1, we've got Cole Reagans versus Josh Winkowski on Friday at 7:10. Game 2 on Saturday, we got Seth Lugo versus Cutter Crawford. I think that'll be a good one. That's going to be 4:10 p.m. And then game 3 on Sunday, Brady Singer versus Brian Bayo at 1:35 p.m. Eastern.
I've got the do we buy or do we sell series. It mainly just has to do with the Texas Rangers facing the Houston Astros. Houston Astros are 2 games back in the division. Texas is 5.5 games back in the division. They're 4 games under 500, but both teams at right this second, right meow, are 7-3 in their last 10 games. So I said, why not? Let's figure it out. Let's battle it for Texas. Game 1, Friday. Andrew Heaney against Hunter Brown. Game 2, Nathan Eovaldi going against Spencer Arrighetti, which let's just turn that into spaghetti right now. There's no need to really overthink that too much. It's just like it lines up really well. I like the way this lines up for the Rangers.
Dude, real quick, what's up with like the Italian, like the ease of access when it comes to Italian foods and baseball players? Like spaghetti for Arrighetti. You've got Steven Piscotty back in the day, big Steven spaghetti guy. Johnny Lasagna, Loizaga. Like what's up with that?
I don't know
why is it so easy?
Venezuelan, but you know, yeah. Hey,
I'm saying Italian foods.
Oh,
Italian type foods. I'm not saying why is it Italian. I'm just saying, like, why is it so easy with the Italian foods? Why are there so many names that could be misconstrued as a variety of pasta?
It's making me hungry, though. I do know that. That's game 2, by the way, Saturday. And then last game of the series being on Sunday, obviously. We got Ronel Blanco for the Astros going against the always Cy Young favorite, Mr. Undecided for the Rangers. Go get it. You know what I'm saying? It's right there, Rangers. Let's get into the All-Star break on a high note. Let's go win a series against your in-state rival. Be buyers. Go for it.
They've won 5 straight coming into today.
That's all I'm saying, man. Like, that's all I'm saying. They turn it on. Ever since that report came out about Scherzer potentially, will he waive his no trade to go to his 17th team in 3 years? No. Go for it. You got all the pieces.
That's all I got. Reminder, come hang with us on Monday. I don't know recording wise what we're gonna do, if anything, Sunday. It's just gonna be like that weird,
weird,
kind of wrapping up the unofficial first half,
which I hate that we call it the first half. By the way, we're so deep into the season.
We've certainly passed the first half.
Maybe they move the All-Star game up. Maybe they should do that. Do like a month earlier. I think more guys would participate in stuff that we want to watch.
It's possible. It's plausible.
What are the chances, like a 0 to 100% chance you rate yourself watching the full All-Star game?
Wow, we're literally flying. Did I mention that on here? We're like flying out of town that morning, so we're going to be in Colorado the day of the All-Star game. So we're streaming the Home Run Derby, and then we have to be at the airport at like 5:15 in the morning, which is just a blast.
Yes.
So I'm going to be dragging a little bit that day, and I don't know what's planned for the family reunion out there. This is not my side of the family. This is Meredith's side. So I don't know what's planned out there, but I'm going to do my best to, at the very least, have an eye on the game. So I can't even put a percentage chance on it because it's not like I'm not going to be in my regular rhythm, my regular routine. So yeah, but I'm going to do my best. I'm going to watch what I can.
I'm not doing anything, and I don't know if I can get into the 90s. I'm going to be at home doing nothing. I think it's like a 72% chance that I watch the whole game.
Those are decent odds.
Not terrible.
Decent odds.
Anywho,
but yeah, all that to say, I don't. We may record.
We're all invested on the Home Run Derby. That's it.
For sure. And we still may record it. We may modify it a little bit. Maybe throw out like a short one and get you guys, ready for the All-Star break.
One could argue that they don't have anything else to do Monday leading up to the Home Run Derby. You know what I'm saying? So
Boom.
maybe we have to give them something.
Yeah. Okay. I think it's been decided. I think we're going to record Sunday. I think we've just talked ourselves into recording Sunday. Mm-hmm. Don't know what it's going to be on. We'll figure that out.
We always do.
We'll talk to you guys Sunday. And again, as a reminder, for like the 74th time today, live stream Home Run Derby watch party Monday, July 15th. Be there.
Or be square. Don't go chasing curveballs. See you guys later.
We love you all, and as always, looking forward to talking more baseball with you guys soon. Until next time, stay filthy.